Have you ever wished you could be unshakable? Someone who doesn't care about criticism, rejection, or betrayal. Someone who can finally stop feeling that silent pain, the anguish that eats you up inside even when you pretend to be fine on the outside? Maybe you're tired of trying to please everyone, of maintaining an image that requires strength all the time when, in reality, all you want is a moment of rest from the pressure of being untouchable. But here's something that no one may have told you: as long as you try to avoid pain, it will continue to control you. What hurts you is not the world outside, it's the wounds inside you that haven't been addressed. It's the story you tell yourself about what happens to you. True strength isn't about avoiding pain, it's about integrating everything that currently affects you in the dark. If you're tired of suffering and ready to break free, this video is for you. Stay with me as we explore how you can stop being a hostage to your past, your fears, and the actions of others. And if this resonates with you, hit the subscribe button, because the journey to emotional freedom starts right here. You may believe that what hurts you is out there, in the actions of others, in the words that wound you, or in the betrayals you didn't see coming. But here's the brutal truth: none of this truly has the power to hurt you unless there is already an open wound inside you. What hurts you is not what others do to you, but what these experiences activate within you. The old trauma, the empty spaces you've been trying to fill with strength, pride, or the desperate need to appear well-adjusted. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, taught us that the pain we feel when the world reacts a certain way is merely a reflection of what we haven't yet integrated within ourselves. That's why some people can go through devastating situations and still maintain clarity, while others crumble in the face of a simple comment. It's not about what happens, it's about where it hits you. And the moment you recognize this, you begin the path to healing. If this is making sense, keep watching because we're about to dive deeper. It's time to stop running from what hurts and start facing what's inside. You've spent so much of your life trying to control how others treat you, believing that if you could just be good enough, strong enough, or understanding enough, then no one would ever hurt you again. But here's the hard truth: control is an illusion. The more you try to control the world around you, to predict how others will behave, to avoid the inevitable pain, the more you are locked in a constant state of tension and fear. You're not truly free, and you never will be as long as you're trying to shape the world to fit your expectations. The reality is that pain will always find its way into your life, no matter how much you shield yourself. The pain you feel isn't caused by what happens to you, it's caused by the story you tell yourself about it. It's the unconscious wounds that have never been addressed, the emotional scars you've tried to cover up with strength or pride. When you try to hide from pain, you only create more of it. Jung's words ring loud and clear: what you resist, persists. As long as you try to numb yourself or run from discomfort, the pain will continue to resurface. The key to freedom isn't in trying to avoid pain but in understanding that pain, and letting it show you what you need to heal. True emotional strength doesn't come from building walls around your heart or pretending nothing affects you. It comes from the courage to face what hurts, to accept it, and to learn from it. When you stop trying to control how others treat you, you free yourself from the prison of external validation. You stop living your life for others, trying to please them or seeking their approval to feel good about yourself. Instead, you begin to live with awareness, realizing that no one has the power to define you unless you let them. And this is where real strength is found, not in building emotional armor, but in embracing the pain, the flaws, and the insecurities that make you whole. The path to emotional freedom begins the moment you accept that you can't control the actions of others, but you can control how you respond to them. It's time to stop waiting for others to change so that you can finally be happy. Your happiness begins the moment you decide to stop seeking approval and start integrating your own shadows. Only then will you begin to experience peace. Peace that no one and nothing can take away from you. Now that you've realized that you can't control how others behave, it's time to confront a deeper truth. The pain you carry isn't just a result of external actions. It's deeply connected to your own unconscious mind. Carl Jung was clear on this point. Your unconscious, the part of you that holds unresolved emotions, hidden desires, and repressed memories, is the driving force behind much of your pain. Until you become aware of what's inside you, until you confront the shadows that linger in your psyche, you will remain vulnerable to the forces that influence you without your conscious awareness. This unconscious mind governs everything you feel and do. The reactions that seem to come out of nowhere, the anger that explodes without warning, the sadness that floods you unexpectedly, the anxiety that grips you at the most inconvenient times, these are not random. These emotions are messages from parts of yourself that you have ignored, suppressed, or failed to understand. They are signs that something within you needs to be addressed, integrated, and healed. Jung's idea of individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, is all about making the unconscious conscious. It's about shining a light on the parts of yourself that you've hidden in the dark, the parts that you've tried to avoid because they make you feel uncomfortable or vulnerable. But here's the thing, avoiding these parts of yourself doesn't make them go away. They only become more powerful when ignored. They show up in your relationships, in your patterns of self-sabotage, in the fears that grip you, and in the ways you react to the world. The more you try to protect yourself from pain, the more fragile you become. You might think that building walls around your heart will keep you safe, but it only isolates you. The more you try to avoid suffering, the more you are controlled by it. And that's where the real power of the unconscious lies. It shapes your life from the shadows, directing your emotions and decisions without you even realizing it. But there is a way out. The way out is through integration, through consciously facing your shadows, your fears, your pain, and everything that makes you feel vulnerable. When you stop running from what you're afraid to confront, you begin to reclaim your power. Instead of being a prisoner of your unconscious mind, you start to live with awareness, with clarity. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it. You stop being an emotional puppet, controlled by past wounds and old trauma, and start choosing your actions based on your true values, not on unconscious triggers. This process isn't easy, and it isn't comfortable. In fact, it often feels like everything you've known is falling apart. But that's precisely what makes it so transformative. When you let go of the false image you've created to survive, the persona that was built to protect you from rejection, pain, and disappointment, you begin to uncover who you really are. And this person, this authentic self, is much stronger than the one who was always trying to protect themselves from life. Jung's idea of emotional immunity isn't about becoming untouchable. It's about becoming whole. When you integrate the parts of yourself that you've been hiding, you develop a strength that doesn't depend on avoiding pain or controlling the world around you. You develop a deep inner peace because you understand that nothing outside of you has the power to shake you unless you give it that power. And when you reach this point, when you fully accept who you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses, your light and your shadows, you find that you no longer need approval. You no longer need validation from others because you already have it from within. You no longer feel the need to control how others see you or how they treat you. You know your worth, and nothing can take that away from you. This doesn't mean that life becomes easy. It doesn't mean that you'll never feel pain again. But what it does mean is that you'll be able to face whatever comes your way with resilience. You'll be able to experience pain without losing yourself in it. You'll be able to stand tall even when life knocks you down because you've stopped living in fear. You've stopped reacting to every external event as though it's a threat to your identity. The truth is, once you've integrated your unconscious mind, once you've embraced all the parts of yourself, the good and the bad, you become unshakable, not because nothing affects you, but because you've learned how to be present with whatever comes your way without letting it define you. You become emotionally immune, not because you're cold or indifferent, but because you've accepted and understood all that you are, and you no longer need to hide behind a mask. This is the ultimate freedom. The freedom to live fully, to be vulnerable, and to love yourself, even when the world is not kind. When you embrace this truth, you stop running from life and start living it on your own terms. You stop being a victim to your emotions, your fears, and the actions of others, and you start creating your own reality. This is the journey towards true strength. And it's one that, once embarked upon, leads to the greatest transformation you can experience. The transformation of becoming your true, whole self. So, if you're ready to take that first step towards freedom, it starts now. Start by embracing the parts of yourself that you've been hiding. Stop running from the pain and instead, see it for what it truly is, the key to your growth, your transformation, and your ultimate peace. As you begin this journey of integration, you will face discomfort. There is no way around it. The process of truly knowing yourself, of confronting the fears, wounds, and insecurities you've hidden for so long, is not easy. But as Carl Jung wisely said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The more you resist this journey, the longer you will stay trapped in the cycles of pain and self-sabotage. It's only by leaning into the discomfort that you can begin to heal. As you face these deep wounds, you will also encounter the aspects of yourself that you once viewed as weaknesses. These might be parts of you that you've shamed or rejected, your anger, your fear, your imperfections. But remember, these are not enemies. They are pieces of the puzzle of your life, waiting to be understood and integrated. When you embrace them, rather than trying to fight or hide them, you free yourself from their power. Instead of being a source of pain, they become a source of strength. You no longer feel the need to deny or suppress any part of yourself. This is what true emotional strength looks like. It's not about building walls or pretending to be unaffected by life. It's about fully accepting every part of yourself, the light and the dark. It's about becoming conscious of all that you are, not just the parts that are easy to love, but the ones that make you feel vulnerable and exposed. When you do this, you stop being at the mercy of the world's judgments. You stop being controlled by external forces because you have made peace with yourself. Your emotional resilience comes not from avoiding pain, but from facing it head-on and growing through it. But this transformation requires time and patience. It's not an overnight change. The journey towards individuation, towards becoming who you truly are, is ongoing. You will face setbacks. You will doubt yourself at times. But with each step you take, with each layer of yourself that you uncover and accept, you will become stronger, more centered, and more grounded. Your true strength lies not in how much you can endure, but in how fully you can embrace every part of yourself, including the pain. As you continue this journey, you will start to notice the shifts. You will feel less reactive, less controlled by the actions of others. You will begin to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than fear. You will no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances or the people around you. Instead, you will be the creator of your own life, living in alignment with your deepest values and truths. So, if you're at the beginning of this path, know that the discomfort is a sign of growth. It's not something to avoid, but something to embrace. The pain you feel now is the doorway to the peace, the freedom, and the self-awareness you've been longing for. The more you face it, the more you transform it. And when you've integrated all parts of yourself, the pain, the joy, the light, the dark, you will truly be untouchable. Not because nothing affects you, but because you know that nothing, external or internal, has the power to break you. Remember, true emotional freedom doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges. It comes from engaging with them fully, with courage and awareness. The journey to becoming whole is not a path for the faint of heart, but it is the path that leads to real freedom. It is the only path that leads to true emotional strength, peace, and resilience. And once you walk it, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again, not because they won't try, but because you will no longer be vulnerable to their actions. You will be anchored in who you truly are. So, take that first step today. Embrace the pain, embrace the discomfort, and let it guide you to your true self. Your transformation begins now. As you continue this journey, one of the most profound realizations will be that pain, rather than being something to avoid, is actually your greatest teacher. We have been conditioned to fear pain, to see it as a weakness, a sign that something is wrong. But what if pain is not the enemy? What if it is the gateway to understanding who you truly are, to shedding the layers of false identities you've been clinging to? In the past, you may have believed that if you could avoid suffering, you could achieve peace. But the truth is, avoiding pain only delays your growth. The pain you've been running from, the hurt caused by rejection, loss, or disappointment, is exactly what will guide you to your greatest strengths. It's not the pain itself that makes you weak, it's the fear of it. When you face your pain, you allow it to transform you. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He didn't see pain as a punishment, but as a vital part of the human experience that could lead to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. Pain, when acknowledged and embraced, becomes the bridge between who you were and who you are meant to be. It is in the fire of discomfort that your most authentic self is forged. This is the real strength, not the absence of pain, but the ability to face it without losing yourself. The more you run from your emotional wounds, the more they will haunt you in different forms. Anxiety, self-sabotage, depression, and unresolved anger are all signs that something inside you is yearning to be seen, understood, and healed. These emotions are not random, nor are they punishments. They are the messages of your unconscious, calling you to become whole. If you continue to suppress these feelings, they will only grow louder and more destructive. But when you learn to sit with your pain, when you allow yourself to feel it fully without judgment or resistance, you give it a chance to transform. You give it the space it needs to guide you toward healing. Pain isn't something to push away, it's something to integrate, to learn from. When you can look at your pain with compassion and understanding, it no longer has the power to control you. Instead, it becomes the force that propels you forward. This is the path of individuation. It is not easy, and it is not for the faint of heart. It requires the courage to look at all the parts of yourself that you have hidden away, the parts that you may have been ashamed of, the parts that scare you, the parts that you've tried to bury. But once you bring these parts into the light, once you accept them as integral to who you are, you will find that you are no longer at the mercy of your past. You will stop reacting to life and start living it consciously. True freedom doesn't come from avoiding pain or controlling others. It comes from understanding yourself so completely that no one else's words, actions, or judgments have the power to take you off course. True freedom is not about becoming invulnerable. It's about becoming whole. When you stop running from the very things that make you feel vulnerable, you reclaim your power. As you continue this journey, remember that every step you take toward self-awareness, every moment you spend confronting your pain, is a moment of transformation. You are no longer the person who hides from the world, who masks their emotions, who lives in fear of rejection. You are becoming someone who is at peace with all that they are. And once you reach this place of self-acceptance, nothing outside of you can ever truly hurt you again. So keep moving forward. Embrace the discomfort, sit with your pain, and allow it to transform you. The path to true strength and freedom is not easy, but it is the only one that leads to lasting peace. The more you accept yourself, the less the world will be able to affect you. You are in control, not because you can predict everything that happens, but because you've learned to navigate the chaos with clarity and confidence. And when you reach that point, you'll realize that the only thing that was ever standing in your way was your own resistance. The moment you stop resisting, the moment you stop fighting, is the moment you begin to truly live. The journey is long, but the reward is worth it. Keep going. You are closer than you think. As you continue on this path, you'll start to notice a profound shift. The way you see the world, your interactions with others, and even your inner dialogue will begin to change. When you stop looking for external validation, when you stop trying to control how others perceive you, you free yourself from the invisible chains that have held you captive for so long. You begin to see life for what it truly is, a journey of self-discovery, not a series of battles to be fought. You'll no longer feel the constant need to prove yourself. You'll stop measuring your worth by how well you fit into the expectations of others. Instead, your worth will be measured by your ability to be true to yourself, to honor your own needs, desires, and emotions. This is the essence of emotional maturity, not suppressing your feelings, but understanding them and using them as a guide to lead you toward your authentic self. The more you integrate your shadows, the parts of yourself that you've hidden, rejected, or feared, the more you'll realize that you are not just surviving, you are living. And living fully means accepting all parts of yourself, not just the parts that are easy to love, but the parts that make you human, your flaws, your insecurities, your imperfections. When you do this, you no longer fear judgment, rejection, or failure. You know who you are, and that is enough. The pain that once seemed like an enemy will no longer hold you hostage. Instead, it will become a part of your strength. You will learn to sit with discomfort, to embrace it, and to let it guide you toward a deeper understanding of yourself. This doesn't mean you'll never feel hurt again, but it means that the pain will no longer define you. It will no longer control your life. You will be able to feel the full range of human emotions without letting them overwhelm you or determine your actions. In this space of integration, you will find that you no longer react to the world in the same way. You'll no longer be triggered by the opinions of others, by slights, or by failures. You will become more grounded, more centered, and more at peace with who you are. The external world may still present challenges, but you'll be able to face them with clarity, resilience, and self-assurance. You'll start to recognize that true freedom comes from within. It's not about controlling the world around you, it's about controlling how you respond to it. Once you have integrated all parts of yourself, once you've embraced your darkness and your light, you will realize that nothing can truly hurt you unless you allow it. The world may still offer its criticisms, its judgments, and its challenges, but you will no longer be at its mercy. You will stand firm in your truth, unwavering in your knowledge of who you are. This journey isn't easy, and it's not meant to be, but it is the most rewarding path you will ever take. The more you embrace yourself, the less the world will be able to affect you. The more you integrate your inner world, the more unshakable you become. And when you reach that place, you'll realize that the greatest strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from learning to live with it, to understand it, and to grow through it. So, continue on this journey. Embrace the discomfort, face the pain, and know that every step you take brings you closer to the truth of who you are. You are not defined by your past, your fears, or your pain. You are defined by your willingness to confront them, to accept them, and to transform them. This is the path to true emotional freedom, and it begins the moment you stop running. As you continue your journey of self-awareness and integration, you'll begin to see the beauty in the process. The road may be long, and the challenges may seem overwhelming at times, but with each step forward, you'll uncover a deeper sense of peace and strength within yourself. The pain you once feared becomes a tool for growth, not something that holds you back. You will no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances or the actions of others. Instead, you'll understand that you have the power to shape your own response to life's challenges. By embracing both your light and your shadows, you transform from someone who is reactive and vulnerable into someone who is proactive and resilient. You will no longer be at the mercy of life's unpredictability because you've become deeply anchored in your own inner truth. This newfound strength isn't about being perfect or invincible. It's about accepting your imperfections and knowing that they don't diminish your worth. True emotional immunity doesn't come from creating an emotional fortress around you, but from developing a core of self-awareness that allows you to withstand any storm. You can still feel pain, sadness, and loss, but it no longer defines you. You don't lose yourself in your emotions because you've learned to observe them without becoming overwhelmed by them. As you integrate all the pieces of yourself, you begin to live with clarity. No longer do you feel the need to constantly prove yourself or seek validation. You are enough as you are, and this truth becomes your foundation. You no longer need others to validate your existence or tell you that you're worthy. Your worth is intrinsic, and once you realize this, you stop chasing approval. This journey toward individuation, toward becoming your true self, doesn't mean that life will always be easy or free of challenges. But it means that you will face those challenges from a place of power, peace, and clarity. The world may still try to knock you down, but you will no longer be vulnerable to its blows. You will stand firm in your truth, knowing that no one and nothing outside of you has the power to define your happiness, your worth, or your peace. The journey you are on is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage to face your fears, to confront your wounds, and to let go of the false identities you've created. But if you've made it this far, you are already on the path. You are already stepping into your power. And every step you take from here will bring you closer to the freedom and peace that comes from truly knowing yourself. Keep moving forward, even when it's hard. Embrace the discomfort and the pain, knowing that they are your teachers. With every challenge, you are becoming more whole, more authentic, and more at peace with who you are. You are no longer at the mercy of the world's judgments, opinions, or criticisms. You are your own anchor, your own source of strength, and nothing can take that away from you. So, keep going. Embrace the pain, embrace the transformation, and know that you are walking toward a life of true freedom, a life where you no longer need to be protected from the world because you are whole within yourself. And that, in the end, is the only strength that truly matters. In conclusion, the path to true strength and freedom is not about avoiding pain, seeking approval, or building emotional walls to protect yourself. It's about embracing every part of yourself, the light and the dark, the strengths and the weaknesses, and understanding that pain is not your enemy. It's a teacher, a guide that leads you to the deepest parts of who you are. The true strength lies in integration, in accepting all parts of yourself without judgment. When you stop running from pain and start facing it with awareness, you begin to transform. You realize that nothing external can hurt you unless you allow it to. The world may still throw challenges your way, but when you are grounded in your own truth, you become unshakable. This journey is about becoming whole, not perfect. It's about understanding that your worth is not dependent on the opinions of others or the external circumstances of your life. True freedom comes when you stop trying to control everything and instead learn to navigate life with clarity, self-awareness, and a deep connection to your inner self. So, take a deep breath, embrace the process, and know that every step forward is a step toward your true self. You no longer need to prove your worth, to shield yourself from the world, or to run from the pain. You are enough, just as you are. And when you live from that truth, nothing and nobody can ever hurt you again.